Today, I'm headed over to Georgia. I found a nice SN95 Mustang that comes with a Coyote, a control pack. The car's complete. It's a 5-speed car, Cobra body kit, for a super good deal on Marketplace. So I'm headed over there now to get it. I'm just filling up with diesel, and I'm gonna stick it together. I hadn't quite decided what I'm gonna do with the car yet. May sell it, may not, but I figured, you know, it's another Coyote swap car, so we'll just go ahead and video it. So see you when we get there, guys. So I've ended up moving the Fox body down to my other shop. I just think it'll be a lot easier to kind of work on everything at one location. So I've got it back here on my quick jack. I went ahead and brought my MIG and then my plasma. But a few weeks ago, I picked this car up. Man, I got a killer deal on it. I only paid $3,300 for it. It does have a locked up engine, but it's a 5-speed. It's not a Cobra, which is, in my opinion, that's kind of what I wanted. I don't really care for the IRS. If I want to mess with IRS, I'll do a S550. So I kind of get the look of the Cobra with the benefits of the solid axle. But to me, I don't know, I really like this car. And it came with, let's see, a Coyote with an intake. That's a new pickup tube. Let's see, here's the interior. I mean, it's black leather, in good shape. It's a 5-speed. And it also came, and the reason I say I got such a killer deal is it came with this entire brand new control pack. I've actually never messed with a control pack. I've always just had the security deleted and wired them in myself. But it has literally everything. And I mean, it's pretty nice. Everything's laid out to wire it. Pedal. It came with head gaskets, Clevite performance bearings. I think that's a clutch switch. Then a set of rings. So the Coyote that it came with is over here. The guy said, it, you know, the guy he bought it from said it smoked, but I guess he was planning on going through it anyways. But I also got this block already ready, so I don't know. Considering doing, what I'm really considering doing, seeing as how I build so many, especially Gen 1s, I've sold a couple, is using the control pack to build a engine run stand. So after I build one, I can stick it on there and break it in versus stick it in the car. But that, you know, that doesn't really change my plans on that. So here's the engine that came with the Cobra. It does rotate over, but it's definitely not the easiest. Yeah. So, about to pull it apart and kind of see what's going on. There was a little bit of like water coolant or something in the oil pan. Then of course it dropped a bunch of spark plugs out of it, so they must have just been kind of sitting in the cylinders. But yeah, let's get these heads off and kind of see what we got. So, in the middle of tearing down this Coyote, and I just was going to kind of share what I normally do with the lifters. Is I usually, this is just gas in this jar. I'll drop the lifters in there. And then run them through the ultrasonic. This is a set I just pulled out of the jar. They're just kind of sitting in oil. This set had gotten like a little wet and kind of flash rusted, so I got those soaking in diesel, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick them in the ultrasonic with these that just came out of this Coyote. I've personally never seen one of these lifters go bad, so what I usually just make sure of is that they will compress and extend. There are times where, say, if you had a major failure in the engine where metal's gone through it, I don't believe this one has that, because all those pretty much turned fine, or, you know, squished fine. However, there are times, and like 9 times out of 10, just letting them soak in gas a while and then run them through the ultrasonic will free them back up. And as long as they're freed up, I'll generally reuse them. In my experience, I don't see any reason to just replace them for no reason. Alright, so here's the driver's side. Definitely some bunch of carbon buildup in there. This cylinder looks a little bit flash rusted. So far I don't see anything that won't hone out. But yeah, it just looks like a bunch of gunk. Now let's get the other side off. Alright, so more of the same on the other side. I believe this must have been locked up because it smells like they've had Marvel Mystery Oil soaking in these. So, and it definitely, this is a F-150 engine. So, which I kind of already knew that, just from the intake cams being B3LE instead of B3RE or BR3. I don't know, either or. Yeah, BL3E, and then of course the Mustang part numbers are typically like BR. So yeah, I'm gonna rotate it over. Well, I'm gonna spray some WD-40 in there, rotate it over, and then pull these out. So got it all apart. This is actually the first factory block I've ever seen without oil squirters. I know they removed them for a year or two, but out of all the engines I've ever done, this is the first one I've had. So it is still a Gen 1. And I'm gonna flip it over, kind of oil up the cylinders and hit them with a quick cone, just kind of see what they look like, clean them up. I've stuck 2 in there, but this is pretty much what these look like before going in the ultrasonic. Now they won't be perfect just from one cycle, but it will knock a lot of this off. M-dip does real good as far as cleaning pistons up, but for now I just grabbed some dishwasher pods, so it should be all right. So I made this out of a 35-gallon drum a few years ago. It'll boil. I mean, all it is a hot water heater element, 240. I'm getting ready to unplug it, but it'll boil blocks. And right now I just have dishwashing detergent in there. Just kind of I'm gonna let it soak overnight. Pressure wash it off tomorrow, and it should be ready to hone up. I drop engines out the bottom. I have a little cart I built over there, but I've actually never pulled an engine out of a SN95, and just with the AC lines complicated as shit, the Hydro Boost stuff, which, you know, the Hydro Boost is getting thrown in the trash. It will have AC, so I took those apart correctly just in case I need to use, you know, a mixture of that, the SN95 AC lines, and like say a you know, S550 or something. I don't think I'm gonna go that route, but I didn't want to butcher those. But I did cut a lot of the Hydro Boost hoses, but I ultimately decided, instead of trying to figure out what all I needed to undo to drop the subframe, I just pulled the trans out. I think it took like an hour, and then maybe another 2 hours to get the engine out. So about to, you know, go sit it on the floor somewhere. I've got the block out there. I've pressure washed it. I oiled it. I still got to hone it, and still have the pistons over here. I think they sat overnight, and it's like the 3rd time I've ran them through here. They have come pretty much clean enough to use. There's like 2 or 3 of them that still have a ring or 2 stuck, and honestly that's the only reason I'm still running them through this, to get those rings unstuck. Okay, so I'm kind of honing up the block that we've been working on. This is one that was done by the machine shop. Now this block was a whole lot cleaner before I took it to the machine shop, so that's why it was already, you know, it looks brand new. All the like oil, sticky, you know, sludgy stuff that was on this one is gone just from dishwashing, you know, detergent. This one was honed and decked at the machine shop. So, you know, it looks real pretty. But overall, this engine really didn't have anything wrong with it. It did have some gummed up rings, stuff like that. So I'm not gonna send this to the machine shop. I'm just gonna hone it myself. There's already nothing you can feel in the cylinder. This is just kind of like stains. I'll hone it till that's gone, you know, but realistically, it would be all right. You know, I'm gonna just hone it up till those are gone, but pretty much as long as you don't have anything that'll catch your nail. Some of that's just, you know, surface just stained into the cylinder wall. But yeah, I typically don't have any problems doing this. I will send to the machine shop if I need to. I don't use a dingleberry hone. Personally, I think the stone hones do a whole lot better to, you know, kind of shake the cylinder back up. But I will take this is kind of a tip I got from my machine shop guy. I will take a green Scotch-Brite and wrap it around the hone when I'm done, and kind of hone the cylinder with that, just kind of like a finer grit. I don't know. I've never used the ball hone. I'm sure they're fine, but overall, and you can research it too, these do tend to clean up the cylinder bore better, so I use that. And I have never had an issue with ring sealing. Typically I use just these Hastings rings here for the Coyotes, and I've had engines, you know, 210 psi before I crunk it up. So and I have, you know, used VR1 stuff like that to break in. I've actually had bad luck. The engine I broke in on VR1 actually rod knocked, but it was the bearing locating tab broke off and spun the bearing. So it could have been the bearing's fault. I don't know. But I typically just use Liqui Moly 540, which is synthetic. I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, the rings won't seat on synthetic, etc. But I have built so many engines this way, and I never have an issue. So it's the way I'm gonna keep doing it. So just a little tip for you guys. So here's the pistons. They've been ran through a couple times. You know, the dishwashing liquid, it you know, I guess you'd say tarnished them a little bit, the color, but that doesn't really matter because they're going to get coated. So see how, you know, it's missing pretty much all the sides coating. But the main thing is you want to get most of, if not all of, the carbon out of like your ringlands and stuff. You don't want any carbon buildup. Dip it takes a little bit longer, but does a little bit better. I mean, that worked just fine for what it is. So this is just a Harbor Freight blasting cabinet. The wind blew it over and busted my glass. 3D printed this gun for it. This is the air feed, and this is fed from a sump pump. And basically what it does is it just churns this mixture of glass bead and water up. Vapor home the you can vapor home aluminum, whatever, but basically that's what you want to do with the pistons. That way the cerakote will have something to stick to. So here is after, and I tape the ringlands. I don't think I'm going to tape the ringlands on those. It's not that hard not to get into them, which, as you can see, I mean, the glass bead didn't affect the tape too much. But I don't want to risk, affecting it any worse. But I got the tops cleaned up, sides, and they should be ready to coat. So just got to finish honing all these up, and then we'll get to spraying. All right, so the pistons are done. You can actually, they claim you can actually coat the ringlands because it's so thin. So I think next time I'll probably do the micro slick on everything from the top down. Overall, it come out pretty decent, I think, especially for, what it costs. It's not very expensive. Well, to have everything to do it adds up, but the top coating looks super great. But yeah, so I'm gonna call those good. And I ordered rod bolts today from Ford. I think I just need a head gasket kit, and I'll be able to assemble that engine. I got a set of forged rods and pistons in the back to go in the other block, and I'll coat those next, and I'll kind of do the whole thing, and we'll kind of see how that does. So that won't be in this video, but I will update you guys when I do it and kind of see. And that's the engine that's going to go in my car, so I'll run it for a while, maybe pull it back apart, kind of see what it looks like, and just kind of test it out, see what we're working with. So I got the block finished up. I did a couple more home passes and then finished it up with a Scotch-Brite, and the finish is real nice. Pressure washed it a couple times. The cylinders have I finally wiped them to the point I'm not getting any more residue, so the block is super clean. I've sprayed WD-40 on everything just to keep it from flash rusting. Actually, I use WD-40 for assembling pretty much the whole engine. I just keep it in a spray bottle like that. Of course, I don't use it on the bearing surfaces. As far as that's not my bearing lubrication. I use assembly lube for that. But for the cylinder walls, honing, even after I get it together, I just kind of hit everything. I just use a lot of WD-40. It's not going to hurt anything. I typically change the oil about 500 miles on the car anyway. I got the pistons over here. They're assembled. I got rod bolts coming. The Ford dealership will have them this morning. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and install these and check clearances with the old bolts. And then once I go grab the new ones, I'll just come back and throw those in. So the short block's done. It turns over super nice. I almost feel like I noticed a difference already with the piston skirts coated, mainly just from pushing the piston in with my fingers. And I like these compressors, so instead of having to tap the top of the piston with the back of a hammer, something like that, I was just able to just pop them right in, and that went for all 8. So we'll see. This engine is going in the Cobra, so it'll get sold. Motor for my car, I'm gonna run it, and when I pull it to refresh it, I'll be able to kind of see how the coating held up, stuff like that. But yeah, turned out pretty well. Turns over super smooth. I gotta order basically the head changing kit and a couple things to finish this engine up, and I'm gonna go ahead and order the stuff for the other one, but I'm pretty sure I'll just end the video here and see you guys next time.